Hello there, and welcome to episode 3 of my FA Cup journey, this episode featuring a game in the second qualifying round. Let's get straight to my past self and get this on the road. Good morning. It is far too early, but I have given myself a bit of a trek to get to today's game. So just going to get on the road, get on with it, and you'll find out where I'm going soon. Here, Sandygate, the oldest football ground in the world. Home to Hallam FC, the second oldest football club in the world. The honour of being the oldest football ground in the world is recognised by the Guinness Book of World Records, no less.
Lovely, thank you. Enjoy yourself. Do you know where you're going?
I don't know.
Before, no?
No. Sounds mental, but I've driven 4 hours to get here.
Well, enjoy. So.
Get a polygram, please.
You can, that's £3, please. Pay cash or card?
I'll do cash.
Cash, yeah.
I picked up a programme and a pin for a mate of mine who collects them. Farsley Celtic arrived shortly after I did, less than 2 hours before kick-off on this soggy afternoon. They were actually drawn as the home team for this fixture, but the game was switched to be played here at Sandygate. I later found out from a local fan that the reason for this was that Farsley dug up their pitch to install a 4G surface, only to uncover an archaeological site, meaning that work had to be halted. The articles on Farsley's site don't detail exactly what was found, sadly. Given the historic importance of this ground and club, indulge me for a moment, if you will, in a brief history lesson. Hallam FC were formed in 1860 to take on Sheffield FC, the oldest club in the world, who were formed 3 years prior in 1857. The first ever inter-club game was played here at Sandygate on Boxing Day 1860. Unsurprisingly, it was Hallam FC against Sheffield FC in what's now known as the Rules Derby. The reason for this is the game was played under what's known as Sheffield rules rather than FA rules, as the FA wouldn't exist for another 3 years. There was no offside, you could legally push opponents over if you wanted to, and instead of 11 players being fielded, there were 16 players per team. Sheffield FC came out on top, winning 2-0. I don't know why I did that. 7 years later, Hallam won the world's first ever football tournament, the Union Cup. The competition featured 12 teams, with the final and semi-final being played at Bramall Lane, now the home of Sheffield United, but back then it was primarily a cricket ground. There was also a second place playoff. You may be thinking, hang on, isn't it a third place playoff? Football fans are used to third place playoffs at tournaments like the World Cup, for example, but at the Union Cup, instead of this, there was a game between the losing finalist and the losing semi-finalist. And yes, that is singular, as there was only one semi-final. Due to there being an odd number of teams remaining after 2 knockout rounds, one team was drawn randomly to get a bye straight through to the final. I could go on, but let's end our history lesson there and get back to the present. Of course I got some food, opting for a pasty which I wouldn't normally go for, but I just fancied something other than a burger or a hot dog. The teams came out to warm up and I got talking to a guy called Omar who works for Farsley Celtic. I'm trying to go to a game in every round of the competition, so this is my 4th game.
Oh, so you like ground up?
In a sense, not massive. It's more like it was something to do for this competition specifically.
Okay,
There's actually a mate of mine that suggested the idea and then just kind of just fell away after the first
just left
game.
me to do it.
Yeah.
Then,
You with Farsley?
yeah, so my brother's one of the first analysis and coach, and he does recruitment for him. So you know the lad in the wheelchair?
All right, yeah.
Yeah, just over there. He does it, but he's got quite, I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's got a good history in football. So he was at United Academy for a bit.
Oh, nice.
And then he was in the Mourinho, Van Gaal, all that stuff. So he's been in papers and stuff.
That is impressive.
And then he ended up at Tottenham with Mourinho. So he's at Spurs. He's a United fan though. So he ended at Spurs. And then he started doing managing in lower leagues. So I think he's got his UEFA Pro license. Managed in lower leagues. Managed Step 6 last year. And then this opportunity came up, and then he came in the head of recruitment with the technical director of football. So he did all the recruitment for this season. So yeah, he's got a first team analysis. So I do all the, that shitty little camera that's up there. I set that up.
One of those things. Yeah. I've seen
So
those.
you had the VO, the huddle on.
Yeah, we've had people at my level recording stuff like that as well.
Everyone does it.
And I'm looking back and I'm like, oh my god, I look so weird when I run.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Vlogs, yeah.
Matt Redheads.
Matt Redhead, yeah?
Yeah.
I like that one. That's not a bad one.
Yeah, I mean, it is my name, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I know everyone says, oh yeah, but you're not Ginger. It's like, yep.
No, but it's a decent name. That you're doing well there. Well, it's nice to meet you,
Yeah.
both. So, just I'll text you tomorrow.
Cool. Cheers, thank you. The warm-ups continued. This shot went in this shooting exercise, but I ended up kicking a lot of balls back to the Farsley players. The ground was pretty full by now, with kickoff only minutes away. And here came the teams. Farsley currently play in the National League North, which is the 6th tier, while Hallam play in the Northern Counties East League Premier Division, which is part of the 9th tier. If Hallam won, it would be equivalent in terms of league gap to a League 2 team beating a Premier League side. With the match kicked off, most of the early pressure came from Farsley, with Hallam having to do a fair bit of defending, albeit not without the odd attack of their own. The pressure from Farsley didn't take too long to pay off, however, taking the lead in the 6th minute. The pressure only continued from the restart, with Hallam playing a fairly high line, which was brave, but undone in the 17th minute as Farsley went 2-0 up. It seems like that would be pretty much game over, but only 8 minutes later a hopeful kick back into the box from Hallam caught Farsley's keeper out and they were back in the game. Farsley almost caught out Hallam's keeper straight from the restart, but he was alert, pushing it just over the bar. There was the odd chance for either side after that before half-time, but nothing too clear-cut. The half-time whistle came, and overall Hallam were holding their own. This was not done and dusted yet. The second half underway and no sign of the rain stopping. You can see my camera lens was getting a bit wet and I had to keep wiping it down. There wasn't much in the way of clear-cut chances for the most part this half, but both keepers were still called into action. This guy that I'm focusing on right now is Daniel Pudil, who made over 100 appearances each for Genk, Watford and Sheffield Wednesday, as well as playing for Slavia Prague in the Champions League and earning 35 caps for the Czech Republic. When looking up his stats on various sites, I noticed that someone had cheekily updated his Wikipedia page, which, as of recording, still hasn't been changed back. Brilliant. A wayward free kick from Farsley almost cost the guy next to me his pint.
Half the beer gone, is it?
Then, in the 75th minute, Farsley scored again to make it 3-1 and all but wrap up the game. Could Hallam fight their way back? Well, they did hit the bar, but that was as close as they came. Full time, 3-1 to Farsley, who went through to the third qualifying round. Both sets of players applauded their fans, and Hallam's especially received huge applause in return, and rightly so. They put up a great fight. Another round down, time for me to make the long journey home. How much did clubs receive in prize money for the second qualifying round? Farsley Celtic received £3,375, while Hallam received £1,125. Both of those figures are a 50% increase on the prize fund from the previous round. That's it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Have a good one, and I'll catch you next time.